Hey guys, good to see you. Few of you already waiting, which I appreciate it, as always. It was nothing to do with Coinbase. The Bitfinex hackers moved some Bitcoin. They disagree. They've moved Bitcoin so many times. But yeah. I hope everything on my side is working. I don't want to speak to the void again. But yeah, appreciate you coming by. Cret says hello. Hello, hello. What buttons do I press? I mean, you pressed the buttons already, man. You're quicker than I am. So yeah, we'll talk about Bitcoin. We'll talk about the Coinbase IPO, what it all means, where we're going, all that kind of stuff. Gonna be fun or not, depending on how you're positioned. Hit the big red one, the exit button. Nah. But yeah, before we start, shout out to Blockfolio. They're sponsoring the show. If you want to trade crypto on your mobile phone, that's the way to go. So yeah, their links are in the description if you want to check them out. Appreciate them sponsoring us. They've been cool. So yeah, do give them some love. Thank you, Blockfolio. Cred. Oh, Cred's doing the stream for me. I should get him on. Just have him do it. Okay, so what's going on, right? So for the people that don't know, Coinbase listed, and it looks like it's giga dumping, right? But this valuation is still super fucking high. So I mean, it's not surprising, right? When it's listing way too high, it's pulling back. But that has an effect on crypto. Even more so because a bunch of leveraged apes tried to front run the Coinbase IPO, basically buying the news with leverage. And now that it's going down on launch, they're getting wrecked, right? So that's kind of the situation that we're in. And I gotta say, this looks pretty shit, not gonna lie. High time frame's still good, right? As long as like the support levels hold. I mean, monthly time frame we don't need to talk about. Weekly time frame, this looks still good, right? But it can turn around real quick. So as long as this holds, we're still fine. If it gives out, even more so if it gives out on a news like this, that'd be bad news. And bad news, luckily enough for all of us, is just going to the next support, right? So this still looks completely fine, still looks healthy. We'll see where it goes. And then the daily time frame, I mean, that looks rough, but as long as we are not trading below yesterday's low, we're still good on that front as well. Now, my personal opinion is the chances of setting a market top on news like this are much, much higher than on any other day, right? So it's just, generally speaking, markets like to top on good news, right? Now, whether this is the top or not, I don't know. I wouldn't want to bet on it. But, I mean, if it does start losing the supports that I outlined, I mean, I would have to assume it is. At least for the short time frame. Right? I mean, this would still not be a terrible move, right? All things considered. I mean, if you're looking at this is a tiny move in comparison to the move that we've had on the upside. So nothing extraordinary there. Would just be a 40% pullback. But we don't even have to talk about it yet because we're still trading above support, right? But I think the thing that Cred did is very, very reasonable. And what he did is he just sold or hedged on a break of 62, I think. Cred helped me out there, here. I think you did, right? Somewhere in this area. And he's waiting for this box to be reclaimed, basically, is what I'm thinking anyway. And I think that's more than reasonable. Just sit it out, be hedged into this kind of event. So that's a reasonable approach. Going all in ape back, above here, basically. So the moment we cross this again to the upside, that's where you go. And have some fun again. And until that happens, just chill a little. And for me, what I'm personally watching is this, right? Let's say we undercut this low and then start closing the dailies poorly, or even the weeklies. Then I'll be concerned and I'll move some risk off the table. That's kind of my panic level. This is where I start panicking. Right now, I'm still chill. It's not the end of the world. Like, imagine a 4% move causing you panic back in 17, 18, 19. Like, this is a tiny move so far. Nothing terrible. But like I said, the chances of it topping out off of good news like this are high as well. I kind of get why people are afraid, but no technical reason yet. Sold on the Donald tweet, realized it was a joke, but then saw Cred back me up. I mean, don't ever sell on tweets or whatever. It's just not worth it. Low time frame, this is gonna be interesting to watch, right? I mean, let's say this reclaims anything in this vicinity. And I mean, this is basically, it's nice that we have the 4 hour and the 1 hour be that similar. Let's say the 1 hour and the 4 hour, or one of the both, reclaims this. I mean, it's just gonna Giga Moon, I think. So, I mean, there's not been a better kind of short setup in a long time, but then again, like, there's gonna be a great long setup if that short setup fails, right? So, short setup would be something like this, and then just shorting it like all the way down, or at least trying to. And then the long setup would be just off of that into new highs, wherever the low that we're gonna set is now, into 70, 72, whatever, right? You get the point. So off of these kind of news, you can just make your trade, because it's all about, okay, are we gonna get a reclaim? Are we gonna see bullishness into it, or are we gonna see bearishness? And if it starts breaking down fully, I think that'd be bad for the market. In general, not terrible, like high time frame wise, but just short term would be bad for the market. So that would lead to a big pullback. Any questions on that? I think it's pretty straightforward. Like, the market's been pretty damn kind with this kind of stuff. Like we had the Elon low here, where it's like, okay, if the market goes lower than that, it's fucked, right? And then it never did. And then we had a bunch of, like, these kind of things we had so many times. We had the same thing at 10K, right? And for me, it's basically, if you want to be super cautious, it's down here. It's the same thing. If the market goes below there, I think it's fucked. Unless it does that, it's not. I'm going to start getting worried below here. And I mean, that's reasonable far away. So if the news is just volatile, which it could very well be, right? Just do something like that. I mean, I'm going to start panicking only if it goes below here. Lincoln ETH looks good. Yeah, the altcoins have been putting in some good moves, which is interesting because usually whenever Bitcoin goes volatile, the altcoins take a beating. Not so today, and not so the last week, basically. I mean, if you're looking at Litecoin, for example, reason why I'm looking at Litecoin is because I'm in Litecoin. This was actually, like, this worked out pretty damn neat. But it's not looking bad, right? Even though Bitcoin just had a bunch of volatility. So I don't mind this still. I don't mind some of the altcoins. I mean, this is at resistance right now, but I'm seeing the strength, and something that adds to my cautiousness on the Bitcoin front and makes me trigger happy, which trigger happy for me is below 60K basically, is the fact that these altcoins are doing so well. Because whenever you have these zombie coins like Litecoin, XRP, even Bitcoin Cash, like look at Bitcoin Cash against Bitcoin today of all days, just going mental, right? Whenever we have these move, we're usually near a top for Bitcoin. They haven't moved as much besides XRP. They haven't moved enough for me to just be like, holy shit, okay, this is it. But I mean, it's getting close, right? So if they're gonna show strength, like let's say Bitcoin Cash doubles in a day or two, which I could see as well. I talked about this last week, and I think even the week before, that I could see scams just pump, and this one of them. And if it does, I'm gonna be worried for Bitcoin, but only, and I gotta say this a million times, only if we start actually losing supports. I mean, this would be the one. Even Link just said, I mean, Link, I've been trying to be bullish Link for a while. I don't mind Link, yeah. It lost support again, reclaimed it. This doesn't look too terrible. Now, it doesn't look good because, I mean, all that Link did was this, basically. So it's probably going to do something like this and then either go up or go down. In comparison to other stuff, Link looks pretty bad still, but I mean, it's not bad. And that shows the strength of the older coins, because Link is one of them now. Okay, let me see what you guys have to say. What do you think about coin 10-second chart? Okay, let's have a look. And I mean, we can do something like this. I don't know if you guys... Is there a way to... No, I don't think so. I wanted to have like a tiny window with the coin chart open, but can't do it. But yeah, it's hilarious how like we get a 5-minute move on coin. I'm imagining this is gonna be how it's gonna play out, right? So a bunch of correlation there. But yeah, this is just gonna be the name of the game. Where does Coinbase find support, and then is crypto gonna be able to just follow up? Reason why it's dumped, in my opinion, main reason is because people just expected too much on the news, and that's usually why news tend to just like sometimes dump, is because people just expect way too much. I mean, you get a rally like this of like 1.6k%, and then you get a Coinbase listing, IPO, whatever, and then people expect like the crazy thing, like the same crazy thing they would normally expect. Like, let's say this happened, like the coin listing happened somewhere in the middle here, then yeah, but we moved up a shitload. So kind of going over leveraged into that is just a recipe for disaster, in my opinion, anyway. But yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch. ETH BTC, please, sir. Okay, let's see. Oh shit. Why is that? Let me just close this again. We've all seen it, right? This is why everyone is panicking, basically. So, but it doesn't say anything because, like I said, it listed way too high. Yeah, ETH looks good as well, in my opinion. What it did here was it undercut support, and this is something that we talked about on Weekly Open. It undercut support and then just immediately engulfed it and ran. So we have this kind of head and shoulder setup, but I wouldn't want to bet on it. One, because it's super ugly. I mean, if you want to draw a neckline, whether you do it, right, you can't. And two, I just prefer being bullish stuff. And I mean, this offers, like, flipping this is just much better of a setup than shorting in here, in my opinion. Even more so when you have other coins like XRP go ballistic, right? So I don't mind ETH. I would want it to kind of flip this weekly resistance going all the way back to this high to get broken for me to get like really bullish ETH. But I mean, I'm not bearish here, even though it's at resistance. And I would expect it to go up even though it's at resistance. I dumped a lot of XRP in 18. It depends on when you dumped it, right? I mean, if you hit January of 18, you did pretty damn well. If you hit like late 18, I mean, you still did kind of well, honestly. Like even if you sold the absolute low in 18, you did pretty well. as long as you just put it back into Bitcoin, right? ETH BTC, please. Jesus Christ, a lot of people want to see the ETH BTC pair. Like I said, it's not bearish. I would say I'm expecting it to go up, but I want to see it like put some strength in. How was your Wi-Fi trade, Don? Dude, I'm suffering, dude. This has been the trade. I think I entered somewhere in here and moved up. I was like, I'm a genius, and then it moved back down. It's now like trading around my entry. So to answer that, like it's not doing anything really. My Litecoin trade's much better. My Litecoin's up a bunch. Entered somewhere in here, like 14%, whatever, not bad. But yeah, the Wi-Fi thing, annoying. You should sell it at that high part. Yeah, I should have sold it. I should have sold it exactly here. And then rebought exactly here. You're right. My bad. Seems like a top or way close to a top. Yeah, we talked about it. Could be. I want to see, like the thing is with tops and stuff, and forgive me if I'm talking too much about Bitcoin, but I think everyone this is the thing that everyone watches, right? With tops, you don't need to be the guy that sells this, right? Let's say we are there, which we could be. I'm not entirely sure we are. I wouldn't want to bet on it. But let's say we are, right? Which one would you rather sell? And I mean, I know people are going to say, oh, the first one, because I mean, it's higher, whatever. But realistically, this one, this high is the better one. Let's say we break down here, right? Go in here and then bounce and just barely bounce basically, right? Then you don't need to be selling this if you can sell somewhere in here. If you don't like the strength of the bounce, and then you can sell it lower if you think the top's already in, right? Which, I mean, I wouldn't, if we go to 30, 38 or whatever, I wouldn't guess that the top's in. I would expect it to bounce and bounce strongly. And if it doesn't do that, then I'd be starting to get really worried, right? But I don't think that's going to happen. But realistically, this is the place you want to be selling, right? And one of my biggest mistakes in trading, and something that's kind of fucked with me over the years, is that I actually sold like on the left side of this thing. Like I sold on both sides, but I sold a bunch on the highs. And then I felt like a genius. And I mean, that carried over, helped, like that confidence helped me trade this. But like that attitude of being the hero that sells the top got me to sell a bunch. Not here, actually in here. And I never rebought that part. Which, I mean, in hindsight, that sucks, right? I mean, it is what it is, right? I wanted to move money out of it anyway, but still, anyone can see that that's not the attitude to have, right? You want to be selling the lower high, the second part of it, and that's what I'm trying to do in this one, rather than getting the high. In my opinion, that's the better play. If you want to be selling the high, like the absolute high, that's fine by me. But more often than not, you're going to get wrecked on that. I've sold the top for 2 months now. You feel me? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. You don't need to be selling the top. You need to be selling once you're reasonably sure that the top's in. And that doesn't have to be the top. Not even close. I would long the second one for sure. I mean, that's the thing, right? If you're in this to make USD, right, and you had your targets or you have your targets somewhere and they've been met, it's kind of, for me, that's been the case, right? Most of the coin that I still hold was supposed to go to 30K, and now we're at 60, right? So I'm struggling with that daily because I'm like, I want to be selling this, but I'm going to be selling it once it's actually confirmed to be the top for me anyway. And I don't mind if I give back like 30% of this rally to kind of confirm it, which I'm not going to, hopefully anyway, because if we start losing supports, I'm just gonna move out, do the same as Cred has done. But yeah, I wouldn't mind it, right? To confirm it, I can only recommend being a little like letting it run longer than you would expect. But yeah, fuck off with your horizontal line. Oh shit, did I anger you for some reason? Which one are you talking about? How do you spot the top? Why isn't today the top? Today could be the top. Okay, let's talk about it again on a clean chart, right? Today could be the top. But you don't need to be selling the top. You can be selling the complacency bounce, right? And if this is the top, what we're going to see, right? And I'm not saying this is the top, right? But if this is the top, we're going to see a candle like this. Basically, that mirrors this one. And then we're going to see a bounce, right? And if you see a sell-off like this, right? If this just bleeds down to like 38, it's something different. But if you see a sell-off like this, that bounces and then looks weak in an area where you would expect the complacency bounce to end up in, maybe at 55, maybe like at 51 or whatever, and it starts heading back down again, then you can be reasonably sure that yes, this was the top and I should be taking some risk off. You can never be sure that the cycle top is in. I mean, that's one of, if you would be, like if there would be a method to be sure, then we'd all be giga rich. There isn't, but this is the best way to do it, in my opinion. Do you mean sell spot or leverage? I mean, for me personally, I can't do the leverage part anymore. So for me, I'd love, like if I could do the leverage part, I would have done the same as Cred, basically. I would have hedged entirely into the news. I don't know if you guys read my Twitter with this market could go up, could go down, could go sideways part. That's basically me saying like you don't want to be over leveraged. You don't want to be like exposed too much. I don't know if that message came through or not, but if I could have, I would have hedged, but I can't. So I'll have to move out and actually start selling stuff if we start losing supports. How to tell if it's a strong bounce or a weak one? I mean, it's going to be a strong bounce regardless, but you're going to see, I mean, it's more in the behavior of the market participants. It's going to be all over, basically. You look at Reddit, you look at Twitter, it's going to be a bunch of coping if we're going to see the top. And then it's going to be a bunch of leverage into a bearish retest that just doesn't break out. And that's going to be the top. Now, is that going to happen after it breaks down here and then bounces? Or is that going to happen at 100K? I can't tell you, and I don't think anyone can. And I think saying the top's in right now is a little bit over the top, because no one can tell, right? A better kind of way to look at it, like you see in general, like you don't even have to think about the cycle top or whatever, but you see an impulse get engulfed or like get taken out again. Like let's say we trade below this impulse, that would in general be a sign to kind of take risk off, right? So that would be a sign, take risk off. And then whether the cycle top is in or not doesn't really matter if you've already de-risked. And if it then breaks down, then yeah, you're de-risking. You already de-risked, so you're not in danger anymore. But I mean, this could just be the dip, right? And I wish I could give you the answer. My kind of like my feel is that we're gonna see a decent sized pullback. To weekly support probably. Like I still think we're gonna tag 38K. It just makes sense to me. But I'm not like my belly doesn't do my trading for me. My technicals do. So, and whenever they're not in agreement, I tend to not take trades, and they're not gonna be in agreements unless we actually lose daily support. It's going to happen on a Cred stream for sure. I mean, I wouldn't mind. I would love watching that. As long as it doesn't happen on mine. Like I've done enough in regards to like streaming during the crash If you guys remember, like, I don't know if anyone, raise your hands if you were around during that stream where I streamed literally during this week. Raise your hands. Anyone that was around there, that's still around, I wanna see it. Shit, some OGs in here. Let's fucking go. But yeah, something that I've been seeing like a few people mention is this. And I don't know if you've seen Ledger actually do his TA. He actually called this pretty damn perfectly. He was like, this is going to pump in the IPO. And then it's going to dump. And he was like, it's going to break down here. So if that plays out, all props to him. He called it. I swear I heard my belly doesn't do my trading, my testicles do. I mean, that's a good saying, isn't it? I wouldn't mind that one either. Watching the 3 minute in max pain. The funny thing is, right? I mean, we're all memeing, and I mean, it definitely isn't looking pretty, right? And we all have in our minds that like we topped in 17 on good news. We might top it on good news again in 2021, but we're only down 4.6%, right? So no big reason to panic just yet. But yeah, should we talk about altcoins or should we keep talking about Bitcoin? Just kind of go along with it. Why dump on good news? Doesn't make sense. So good news, right? Everyone knows, like a bunch. This is how it works. This is how news events generally work. For the people that haven't been around too long. So a news event is in the making, is coming around, whatever, right? Insiders buy, right? You get a pump. Sometimes you don't get the insider buying, but oftentimes in crypto you do, right? So you get a pump. That retraces mostly because no one knows, like any of the other holders don't know what's going on, right? And then smart folk or like people that kind of get tipped off or whatever kind of see where this is going and start buying, right? And the news kind of like, news is always, it's not just, okay, something happens, right? It's very rarely that no one knows about it. For example, with this, we all knew the Coinbase IPO was coming, right? So you have like the insiders buy, you have like a few smart people buy and people that watch the space that know about it and it starts going, right? And then the news isn't out yet, right? The news is going to hit here or whatever. And then people buy and then price goes up and people, like normal people, hear about the news that is going to come and price just goes mental and then just goes sideways into the news, right? And you'd expect, oh, the news is going to hit. It's going to pump from there, right? It's going to just do this. But the thing is, like everyone that's going to buy has already bought here, right? And the people that bought because they knew, they're going to either distribute or at least take some profit off, or they might not, right? And it's just not enough people that are willing to buy these news afterwards, right? So you have a bunch of people, maybe even leverage, right? In this case, you have a bunch of leverage that just bought into this before it happened, and then the news hits, and you think this should go up now because I mean this is good news, whatever. Coinbase is big, but everyone that bought or wants to buy already bought, and then a bunch of people are over leveraged and they're getting punished. Now in a bull market, and what we have been having in Bitcoin, it's just going up, good news, whatever, early buyers get rewarded, and then you get a little bit of chop, and then it just keeps going. And that is just the market being like super, super strong. So the market is so strong that it doesn't really matter. Like it's the same with the leverage aspect, right? I've talked with this with a bunch of my friends. Back in 17, 18, 19, when Bitcoin was trading in a range, right? I can draw this. Bitcoin trades in a range. Go sideways, whatever. Whenever leverage traders get too or like overly enthusiastic about it, and kind of extend too far, there's a bounty on that, right? Because if you just, as a big holder, if you sell, they get liquidated and you can just buy much cheaper, right? You can keep doing this, get much more coin than you already had, and you're happy, right? You can do this in a weak market. You can't do it in a strong market. In a strong market, leveraged apes get in, price pumps, they get punished a little bit, or at least the super late ones do. And then the spot market steps back in, buys it up, rescues the leveraged apes, basically, and it keeps going up, right? And if you want to punish these as like a large holder, what you do is you sell a bunch of yours to liquidate these apes. And then maybe it dips a little bit further, liquidates some of them, and then someone is like, oh shit, this is at a discount. I wanted Bitcoin anyway, and it's cheap now. And then he buys a shitload, and you're shit out of luck. Now you have less coins, and it keeps going up, right? So it all depends on where the market is at. You can have, like, you get news, and then you just keep on pumping. But in general, like with stuff like this, it's not surprising that like chop is to be expected and a drop is honestly not surprising. But I hope that makes sense to you guys. It's kind of how I've always looked at these things. I think it's kind of obvious, but if you've been in the market for a longer time, and I mean, you're going to get around and see why it moves the way it does. I like the video because my mother raised me well. I mean, yeah, appreciate it. Coinbase is cursed with listings. That is true. If Coinbase pumps, won't Bitcoin dump? Not necessarily. And it's another discussion that I've had with a bunch of my friends. Is Coinbase actually going to take buying away from Bitcoin? And I'm not entirely sure if I've talked with a bunch of really smart people about it, and most of them have said no, it's not gonna. It's just people are gonna buy Coinbase if they can't buy Bitcoin, and if Coinbase does well, it's gonna just draw more attention. I think some of the bid, like for example, if Coinbase gets cheap, right? If I'm like, okay, this is a cool investment, and I see the value there, and it's not oversubscribed, and it's not like I'm paying too much for it, I would sell Bitcoin to buy Coinbase. So maybe a little, but I think in general it's just more people looking at crypto, which isn't a bad thing. Like how it usually works, right? Crypto goes through a bubble. People look at it and they're like, this is a bubble. It crashes. They're like, I was right. And it goes up again. And the same people look at it again and like, fuck, I could have bought this. I didn't the first time. And now it's the second time, and then they buy in, right? So even if this, like, let's say this was the top, right, and it goes down, you now have a bunch more people that never kind of wanted to buy Bitcoin in the first place. They're now aware of it, and they're going to be fuel for the next leg, because they're going to be like, oh, could have bought the dip, didn't. I'm not going to be that ape again. And I mean, I think most of us did the same thing. For me, it was seeing Bitcoin go from basically 1 to 1,000 in the China bubble. And I was like, fuck, I wanted to have this, I didn't, whatever. It's just a bubble, and it crashed. And then it actually started going back up again. I was like, holy shit, this is actually interesting. And I bought in, right? And it moved. And rarely do people buy in during the first time, when they're the first time that they see it mentioned. You need to see it mentioned like a couple times. So I think this is a good thing in general, even if this leads to a pullback, whatever, doesn't really matter. Why can't everything pump together as friends, Sag? I mean, it has, dude. Have you seen the market cap of stuff? Like, have you seen how big this shit is now? Like, the top 100, and this is blowing my fucking mind every time I see it. This is top 100, right? This is 907 million market cap. The 100, like, this is like what altcoins used to have, and this is the 100th coin, right? Like, these evaluations are fucking crazy, right? This shit's ballooned hardcore. Now, I'm not saying it's a mega bubble, it's all gonna go down, but like the valuations of these things, they're already pretty damn high in my eyes. But I hope, and this is something that I've talked about a million times, when Bitcoin tops, right? You don't necessarily, like Bitcoin tops, and I'm not saying this is the one, blah, blah, blah. But when Bitcoin tops and dumps, right, altcoins usually tend to dump alongside it, at least once it capitulates, like they're going to capitulate too. But then once it finds a bottom, altcoins are going to shoot out and actually surpass their all-time high. So if this is the top, right, and this is going to start capitulating and goes to like whatever, 38K, which is weekly support, once it hits that, I think there's going to be massive opportunity in the altcoins where we're probably going to see massive outperformance, right? So I wouldn't mind that either, right? Even if Bitcoin tops, which would suck, we're going to get an alt season afterwards, I think, at least a tiny one, where we see some good exit pumps, which I wouldn't mind, right? With that kind of fiat expansion, it's relative. I mean, that's true. I mean, every kind of stock has ballooned. So it's not necessarily like the craziest thing in the world, but it's still pretty damn high. If you've been in the space for a while, this is mind-blowing, really. Like that you have a bunch of coins this big is fucking mind-blowing, at least to me. I'm not entirely sure if people are just looking at this and it's just like, oh, this is just 37 billion for like the top 10. Yeah, that's just fucking that's mind blowing to me. But maybe I've just been around for these like it's basically seeing babies grow up, right? And you're like, holy shit, when did this thing become so big? Hey Dawn, how did you learn to handle emotions? All the money I'm not making is really making me anxious and fucking up my trading. I mean, you go through a cycle. Like, I don't think at least through the first cycle that you can deal with it. And I know a bunch of my colleagues have the same thing. I've talked with a bunch of people. I don't really get like the, oh shit, I should be making much more whatever feeling. Like, I'm pretty damn chill nowadays. But during my first cycle, right, which was pretty much this for Bitcoin, right? And then on the altcoins, they went absolutely ballistic, right? I felt that every single day, and I felt like shit every single day. Like, I would say I felt worse during this time while I was making shitloads of money than during this time. Besides during this crash, that felt so bad because I bought a shitload at 4K. And then it kept going down. Like, that felt like shit. But other than that, like, I felt like shit every single day during that rally. Because my peers were making more or the same. Like, I had a friend of mine that made the same amount that I did. And he didn't know how to trade. He didn't know much about the market at all. And that pissed me off so much. It's just, you go through it once. And then you realize, I mean, some people are going to perform better than you do during bull runs. Some people are going to perform better than you do during chop, and some are going to do better than you during bear moves, right? And it's not really competition. I mean, it is, right, in the market itself, but you're not competing with these people on Twitter. You're not competing with anyone but basically yourself. And then just going at it from that mindset and realizing that, I mean, you're in a market that went up a shitload. You're outperforming everyone that is not in the market, basically. And then you're kind of good. But it takes a while. For me, I felt like shit pretty much for the entirety of 17, 16, later 16, 17. Felt like shit even though I made so much money. And then it kind of started fading. And I haven't had that feeling too much anymore. Like, I still sometimes get it when I'm like, shit. Could have made more on this, but it's not like as crippling anymore. So it's just part of being in the market, man. You're going to get through it. Dude, I already apologized. You're still mad about that? Crap talking shit again. Nah. It's all good. How did you learn to handle emotions, mate? That's exactly what I'm going through, man. All the money I'm not making is really messing with me. Yeah, that's basically. I mean, it's just is what it is, right? You're gonna. What you have to realize is that the moment you start kind of beating yourself up about the stuff that you're not making, right? You're just gonna get worse and worse at doing this. You gotta be in a good state of mind, and if you're not, you're gonna perform worse. And it's just it, right? Don't beat yourself up over stuff that you can't control. I mean, otherwise you're gonna take stupid risks, right? If you're like this guy 50x his balance, whatever, in the last 2 days, I mean that guy probably didn't even use risk management. He just fucking YOLO'd it. And if you're competing with that and trying to outdo it, you're gonna get liquidated. So there has to be a balance. But yeah. Jesus Christ. Bear market patterns coming back. I don't like it. Yeah, Cred did the right thing in my opinion. It's the way to go. This is turning into an AA meeting. I'm sorry if I'm boring you guys. I mean, you guys have to tell me to stop because I mean I can do this for hours and hours. Is it a good idea to get out from altcoins? It's pretty much impossible to guess right now. I mean, you're seeing ETH break out, right? Whenever ETH breaks out, the other altcoins usually do well. So I could see altcoins just outperform Bitcoin. So I can't give you a straight up answer for that. Something that, like, for example, if you hedged in the 62 area or 63 area, you can just let them ride and expect them to outperform Bitcoin or whatever. If you didn't, and you're still like stuck in everything, I mean, this is gonna be the interesting area. Anything above there is still technically fine, even though I fucking hate the look of this thing. Flip the pick? Nah, dude, I'm never gonna do that again. Not worth it. That fucked with me for months afterwards. It's just Twitter wasn't it. The reason why I'm not on Twitter as much anymore was basically me flipping that picture because people just fucking they wouldn't leave me alone. Hey Don, sorry to repeat my question, but I love trading and would get into scalping. Anything you could teach? I'm not really into that game anymore. It's as close to. I mean, in my opinion, scalping is the worst trading that you could be doing. In my personal opinion, like the low time frame stuff, there's very, very little edge there. So I'm not really into it too much, unless you find like a really good edge that you can trade with your balance size on the low time frames. I wouldn't bother with it. But if you have like a mind-breaking idea and a really good strategy, go for it. But it's not my expertise, and it's not something I would recommend for anyone really. Like let's say you're 200 IQ genius that does like quant stuff just for fun. I mean, fucking have at it. But if you're trading in the low time frames, you have to be a giga brain. If you're not, very, very difficult during anything but the bull market, basically. And even during the bull markets, the holder's probably going to outperform you. Buy low, sell high. I mean, that's a good cred with the shit advice again. That chart is looking sad. Yeah, it is. But, I mean, who knows? Maybe we're getting rescued. I love it. This is 60K, dude. 60K has to hold. But yeah, Bitcoin Cash, actually, I hate that I'm not having a bag of this, to be quite honest. I want to see how the weekly closes. But if it closes above this green box, I'm getting one. Fuck the haters. It's gonna fucking moon, I think. And I mean, there's plenty of room, right? I think that would be a good play if it closes above green, and then just play the fucking dinosaurs. And the dinosaurs are apparently this time around the last ones to move. Everything else moved. The dinosaurs haven't. Now they're moving. I hope that keeps sustained, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did. I mean, XRP did a good first rally, right? Broke all resistance levels. So now Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, ETH kind of just have to follow through. And that's not really a difficult thing to do. Whenever you have one of the big old coins move, right? XRP, for example. Whenever you have one of them move, people get much more risk on for the other ones. So the other ones just have to move tiny, and people are like, holy shit, do you remember XRP? And then this goes. Might not go as hard as XRP did, but they still like to follow it. Just based on the fact that people are like, okay, I'm going to rotate my profits out of XRP into these. Or they're like, I missed XRP, going to get Litecoin, that kind of thing. Hi, Doug. Do you have any strategy to get out before bear market starts? I'm going to try selling this. But I'm already getting, like, I want to be getting fancy, and I'm going to probably sell if we lose this box. So that would be somewhere in here, basically. If we do, I mean, I try to rebuy here and then see how it's going. If it just bounces tiny, like the worst thing that could happen is like in here, bounces tiny. That would fuck the market, but I don't think that's gonna happen. So I mean, this is already max pain for me. I think 38K, and if anything below that, and yeah, whatever. Don't need to talk about it because it's not gonna happen. Even ETC is holding its own. Yeah. Oh shit, it is. That looks like XRP did, honestly. I mean, I can't recommend you buy fucking ETC because it's trash, but that chart looks like XRP did before it mooned. Interesting. Good mention there, buddy. Tell me where BNB USD support is, please. Okay. Credit wants some love. I mean, that one's obvious. Jesus Christ. BNB moved so much that the nearest support is just 50% away from price. Shit. Yeah, I mean, that'd be like the most reasonable support. And then on the lower time frames, that would still be the most reasonable support. So the answer is like 300-ish. Yeah, I hate whenever you get these candles, and people made fun like this witch whatever person on Twitter, I don't know if you guys know her, whatever, called this like the top, and then I think this the complacency bounce, and people made fun of her, and that was actually like a solid call. I think whenever you get, I mean, in hindsight obviously it was, but even then I thought it was, whenever you see these kind of candles, right? So something moves crazily and then breaks out and just immediately gets sold into like this. That's usually a really strong resistance there. And if you don't believe me, and if you think this is just an altcoin, you just look at Bitcoin, and you saw what happened with, where is it? Yeah. You saw what happened with Bitstamp, right? So someone sold, I think, how much was this? Someone knows exactly, 1.8K Bitcoin, I think. And the moment that happened, right, I was pretty damn certain that the high that we set was going to be really strong resistance. It's just how, like, whenever someone big sells and then we retrace back into that immediately after, there's usually going to be at least a short-term top there. And it happened on BNB. I mean, you can even see it on the USD pair, right? You get these candles, shit's gonna at best go sideways for a while. 4.5K Bitcoin sell order, yeah, could be. Like someone said to me 1.8 I haven't checked up on it personally, but I just believed it. But if you're saying 4.5, I could see that too. But whenever you see that kind of stuff, it's usually at least a short-term top. No, it was Kobe and Angelo. I would expect them to be smart about selling, honestly. Do you think in this stage of the market, big steps in development like chain auctions in Kusama KSM will still bear fruit as it still has a huge network effect? I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm just a trader, dude. I don't understand the fancy stuff that you're talking about. It goes way above my IQ level. I'm just 80 IQ trader ape. Jesus Christ. Guy just showed me how stupid I was in just one word. He's asking if good FA can save the shit. I mean, I understand. I understood that. So in general, good FA and bad FA and whatever. And this is something that I keep saying, and people, I mean, no one really gets this, right? So this is bear market, this is the bull market, right? What happens, or like what matters most in a bear market, right? Fundamentals matter, in crypto anyway. Decentralization matters. A bunch of stuff matters, right? Even like to an extent, tokenomics, all that kind of shit, right? And I mean, this last one even matters in the bull market, but not as much, right? You want to have these in a bear market, right? So that whatever you're holding isn't going to zero, right? It has all of this. It's not going to go to zero, right? Whereas like a piece of shit token that's not really doing anything probably is going to zero in a bear market like that, right? Now in a bull market, no one gives a shit about this. This doesn't matter in a bull market. And this is where like all the BSC haters, all the BSC haters and everyone that kind of hates on all the too centralized stuff goes wrong, right? In a bull market, what happens or what matters most is the hype, is media attention. I mean, it's the same thing, right? But whatever. And then it's just like at a certain point, you even want centralization because it just works, right? It works from the get-go. Now, you have some stuff that would be better put on a fucking database than like, I mean, it's just completely centralized, right? But it doesn't really matter. It has the crypto tag to it. It's gonna outperform probably the stuff that is actually fundamentally sound. So if you're heading into a bear market, I mean, you want to be holding stuff that is all of this, right? Stuff that is good, but it's not gonna be something that goes up while everything else goes down. It's usually not how it works. But there's a big difference there. You're in a completely different kind of state of the market. In a bull market, no one gives a shit, and in a bear market, people do. And if you're stuck in a shitty coin, you're gonna go down 99%. Lol, as if, mate, the only thing I want to be holding in a bear market is a fucking margarita. That is true. But you get my point, right? If you're an investor, you want to be investing in the good stuff, obviously. But in a bull market, you can just fucking throw darts. And then the thing that sounds the fanciest, you're going to do best with. Okay. But I hope that kind of helps you. I mean, fundamentals do matter. But if the entire market takes shit, you're going to take your shit alongside with it. It's just how it is. So, yeah. Bitcoin bouncing a little. That's nice. I mean, fucking hell, dude. Still looks rough. But I mean, this would be the area to hold, right? This is where it starts getting dicey. This is where it gets really dicey. And this is where it's fucked. So there you go. Those are the 3 lines. How is the shit word count for today? Am I getting cancelled? No ad revenue anymore. Not getting our $0 in ad revenue anymore. Fuck. YFI USDT. We can look at it. Yo, that's probably gonna look super fucking shit. I'm not gonna wanna see it. That's actually fine. YFI USD looks fine. Not particularly good, not particularly bad. Fine. Oh shit, it's going up. Let's fucking go. I'm in profit. Brian Armstrong is a bald bitch. I never trusted him, man. Jesus Christ. Bitcoin takes one dip and fucking the enemies of humankind. Is that how it is? I need tricks to figure out when the dumping will stop. Yeah, around support level. Like, that's the good thing about this kind of bull run, right? You get any kind of pullback into any kind of support, and it usually starts turning into bottom. Now, if it doesn't, then you're in trouble. But then again, I mean, you're only in trouble once, right? So you'd expect any support. Like, let's say, what's the best support on the 4-hour chart? You would expect. And this is already deep, so you might not even expect this to kind of get hit. But you would expect this to hold, right? It's near support. And I mean, you would have expected this to hold. It didn't, which is the first warning sign, right? This, I think, I don't know, I haven't talked about the reason why Cred hedged, but I expect this to be the one, right? So you'd expect this to hold. I didn't. That's the first warning sign. And that's like one support failing is no big deal. The second one failing would be a big deal, right? And then what you can do in a bull market is you don't have to catch the bottom. You can catch the breakout. Because let's say this goes back above 63. I mean, this goes to 70 probably. And then who cares if you got in at 63 or at 62? No one cares. Right? So that's kind of how you look at it. You either buy the support. In this case, you got wrecked. So you look at the next one, or you buy at the reclaim. You look at the reclaim. Cred confirms what I just said. Dude, I'm so good. The mind assimilation has it's kind of creepy. Like Cred and I don't have to talk about like how we look at the market anymore because it's assimilated over the years because we keep on talking about stuff like with the newsletter even more. Now it's just like one mind, and I'm just like, yeah, look at this, and he's like, oh yeah, already on it. Fucking scary, dude. We've been writing a dog shit PDF together for like 2 years. Oh, of course, there's gonna be some resonance. Yeah, I mean, that's true. But yeah, I think that's basically it from my side. Anything that you guys want to talk about in the last few minutes before I head off and shake in my boots for what's about to come? Nah, I legitimately have no idea. Like, this could bounce from here, reclaim this and Gigamoon, or it could go down here, and if it does, I would expect further down, right? So basically, you don't want to be doing shit in here. You want to be doing shit down here or up here. And up here, you want to be long only, and down here, you want to be down only, whatever the equivalent of that is. And if you're one of the lucky guys that hedged up here, a good shit, because then you have it pretty easy to just get out of the hedge break even and then fucking go back to being super bullish into the highs again. Can you do TA on coin on the 1 to 5 minute? Cred's gonna kill me with these requests. So, okay, let's see. Okay, so you have a downtrend and you have a consolidation, right? Fucking hell, dude. Why does this look so shit? I mean, that's the thing when stuff just launches super fucking high, right? This launches at 400 and it looks like garbage, right? Let's say this launched at like 200 and did the opposite, then it looks so good. But perfect title, mate. Thanks. Thanks. That's a stroke of genius on my behalf. A rare stroke of genius. But yeah, I mean, there's not that much that you can do on this. It's just troll. Is Litecoin fucked? I don't think so. I'm gonna have it on a tight leash. Litecoin, I mean, I have a position and I shilled some people into it, so I'm gonna go over it real quick again. So we're at resistance right now, right? You could even make this a resistance. I don't like, both are good. We're at resistance right now, and my original plan was longing here and then taking profit here, and that's basically done, right? And if I was a good trader, a good yeah, if I had a little bit more self-control, I'd probably take profit here and then just see if it breaks resistance. Problem with it is that I've kind of missed some of the breakouts on the other one, so I'm just like, gonna risk it here. But like a good trader, I mean, this was the setup, right? Long here, long lower X with like a stop loss below into the high, or like into the range high, and that's basically done. So we're at resistance right now. If that breaks, I think it can just Giga Moon. There's not really like this resistance, the garbage, any resistance in here, garbage. I think this is the next best resistance, and that's like way higher, right? So I don't want to be taking profits just based on the fact that I might miss like a good 2x or whatever. But I wouldn't want to be buying into this. Like, I bought lower, and I think this would probably be a good place to take profits on. It's just I'm not gonna, because I'm stupid. Can't believe a new setup, Litecoin setup worked. Incredible. Yep. I've been trading Litecoin pretty successfully, I would say. It's been garbage price action, but I mean, I took a couple of trades and didn't lose a single one. What is the good resistance? So there's resistances and supports. They can be good and bad. Bad support is something like this that gets tested multiple times, or it's just drawn. Like, let's say you just draw a shitty support based off nothing. That's a bad support as well, right? But generally, you have a support that gets tested a million times, bad support. Now you have a resistance that gets tested a million times, bad resistance, right? And in this case, the reason why I don't like this too much is based on the fact that we've already struggled in this area so many times that if you got back up here, one, you would already have tested this resistance a couple of times, and two, you would have set up like this in play where you'd expect it to actually go up, even if it gets rejected. So that is a bad resistance in my mind. I wouldn't want to be targeting this just based off of that. This is a good resistance just based on the fact that it's been tested a million times too, but it's a relative recent, and given that this chart is super choppy, it's fine to trade off of a bad resistance because, I mean, that's all it's been doing, right? But yeah, there's good supports, bad supports. You get the point, I think, I hope. And the more time you spend on it, the easier it's going to be for you to spot whatever is good and whatever is bad. New 4-hour candle. Okay, let's look at that and then head off, because I actually have food on my table that's getting cold. I mean, it's getting cold. It's been getting cold for an hour now, so it's probably already cold, but it is what it is. Yeah, it looks pretty shit. Not going to lie. I mean, this just looks shit, right? This bounces, goes back into like 62.9 or whatever. If it gets rejected there, it just looks garbage. It only looks good above here. So have some patience, see if it reclaims this. If it does, fucking gigamoon it. And if it doesn't, expect some pain. Is what I'm doing anyway. You don't have to do the same that I'm doing, but that's what I'm doing. Okay. Before I end the stream, big shout out to Blockfolio for sponsoring the show. Really appreciate it. If you want to be trading altcoins or Bitcoin or whatever on your mobile device, I mean, it's one of the best, if not the best place to do so. I've enjoyed it. It's really easy to use, so check it out if you wanna. Links are in the description. And yeah, appreciate you coming by, hanging out. It's a weird stream today. Hope you don't mind, and we'll see each other. Oh yeah, before I forget, we're gonna be talking with Kyle from Free Arrows tomorrow. So that's gonna be up on Friday. So it's gonna be real cool. A podcast for Friday. And yeah, we'll see each other on Monday, on Weekly Open, or on Wednesday if you don't watch that. So yeah, thanks for coming by. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.